So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miras, and today I'm going to present you a topic, Agile methodology. But before starting Agile methodology, let's talk about a short history of software development processes. So, in the first time, there was a waterfall development process. So, waterfall development is another name for the most traditional approach of software development. Here you can see like a chart of this process. It looks like a waterfall because it falls down. So in the first step we have analysis, requirement specification, design, development, testing and integration, and implementation and deployment. So one step goes after another. In the waterfall development you complete one phase, as I said before, for instance design, before moving on to the next phase, development or implementation. And you really aim to revisit the phase once it's completed. That means you get whatever you're doing right the first time, like going downstairs. There's no way going up, only down. But you don't realize any value until the end of the project. You leave the testing until the end, until completing all the phases before testing. You don't seek approval from the stakeholders until late in the day. That's why this approach is highly risky, often more costly, and generally less efficient than agile approaches, because you see the result only at the end, uh, after completing all the steps. So let's move to the agile. Agile is not a process, it's a philosophy or set of values. First of all, we have an agile manifesto. It states that individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Working software is treated over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. Here we have a kind of agile umbrella. This is agile methodology, and it consists of uh, like different implementations. The most popular ones are Scrum, Kanban, and there are other ones like XP, RUP, and others. There are lots of actually implementations of agile development methodology. At the right, you can see how they differ. For instance, at the up, we have a more prescriptive ones, which have more rules to follow, and in the bottom, we have more adaptive ones, like where we have fewer rules to follow. Uh, Usually, the small teams, small projects tend to be more adaptive and choose Kanban. That's the most common case. And more like agile teams, more big teams, tend to use Scrum. And today we're gonna talk about the Scrum because in my experience, in my jobs, we are using Scrum. So what is Scrum? Scrum is a lightweight agile process tool. It splits your organization into small, cross-functional, self-organizing teams. And also you split your work into a list of small, concrete deliverables, sort the list of priority, and estimate the relative effort of each item. Here we have a big one, like a task, which is usually your project. We divide it into small chunk of tasks and then sort it by the priority, like the most uh, the the task with the highest priorities at the top and the with the less priorities at the bottom, and then split this task into the teams. Scrum continued. So in the Scrum methodology, in the Scrum tool, we split time into short fixed-length iterations, which we call sprints, and usually they last between 2 to 4 weeks or from 1 to 4 weeks, with potentially shippable code demonstrated after each iteration. For instance, in my job, we have a sprint of 1 week. Then we optimize the release plan and update priorities in collaboration with the customer based on insights gained by inspecting the release after each iteration. That means that the tasks may be changed after the one sprint because the stakeholders or project managers can see the results of the sprint and decide to switch their uh, switch their tasks to other ones. Then optimize the process by having a retrospective after each iteration. After each sprint, we have a retrospective, which is a discussion of the past sprint, which have done good, which not so good, and what kind of milestones we achieved, and to what way we're gonna go after the sprint, what task we're gonna do in the next sprint. But also after each day, we have a daily stand-up. It's a short version of a retrospective where each team member talk about the tasks that he's done and that he would do in the next day. So this is a kind of chart of the Scrum process. We have a product backlog, which is a list of all available tasks at the moment. Then this product backlog is split into the chunks of sprint backlogs, where each sprint has a set of tasks which will be completed during the sprint. So in the sprint, we plan like what task will be done and in what order and in what teams. Then implement the tasks, review the task, and make a daily scrum also, like daily retrospective to review the implementation of the task, and sprint retrospective. And after the completing the sprint, we see the completed tasks and uncompleted tasks and move to the next sprint. And this sprints continues until the product is like finished or completed. So again, what things we do in Scrum? The project or product is described as a list of features, which is the backlog. The features are described in terms of user stories. So the user story is actually one big functionality that users see, that user like experience during the using our product. Then the Scrum team estimates the work associated with each story. So each task, each story have its own cost, and usually this cost is described by the working hours. For instance, 1 point is 1 working hour. So considering this, we might have a one user story which costs 10 points, which means 10 hours of work. Then the Scrum team, then the features in the backlog are ranked in order of importance. So some tasks may be more important than others and should be done first. And next in the result, we have a ranked and weighted list of product features or roadmap in the Scrum. And as I said before, in a daily Scrum meeting, we should discuss what we do yesterday, what will we do today, and do we have any obstacles. So Scrum in a nutshell is, instead of a large group spending a long time building a big thing, you have a small team spending a short time building a small thing, but integrating regularly to see the whole. In the next slides, we have an example of my agile implementation of Scrum in the Mobicar. So here you can see a Scrum table. I've divided it into the multiple sections. Actually, this table is also used in the Kanban tool too. Here we have to-do tasks in progress, and after the progress we should have a test or review. It might be switched, and after the test or review phases, it might again go to the in progress state because it might fail test or review states. And after passing this all, it goes to the done table. So that's basically the Scrum table. So this Scrum, as you can see, is designed for 2 weeks, and here we have 9 remaining days. Also, each task is labeled and should be assigned to each team member, but at the moment we have only one team member, that's why all tasks are like implemented by me. And here we have a backlog. In the backlog, first of all, we can see the tasks that are assigned to the current sprint, and backlog itself, which is future tasks that should be implemented. So that's it. Thank you for attention and goodbye.